I've lived in this apartment for 3 years. It's my first apartment that I ever lived in, and I'm moving out tomorrow. Or I guess today, because it's really late. And I decided to accompany this extremely stressful experience with a little light reading, by which I mean Jonathan Femby's well-regarded biography of the Chinese dictator CHIANG Kai-SHEK, China's Generalissimo, and the nation he lost. CHIANG Kai-SHEK was a terrible person. He led a dictatorial militant government that killed hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of his own country's people in order to perpetuate itself and its corrupt system, often with the consequence of preventing the growth of democracy and also economic stability in the country. But I've always found him kind of fascinating. He's just a figure that I've developed this macabre obsession with, I guess.
In his ascent, Chiang faced impossibly long odds constantly for like 30 years and always managed to overcome them until the last time. And combined with his lack of any other moral ideal or external concerns, he becomes this sort of incarnation of perseverance, and thus a case study in the disastrous consequences of pure and unchecked perseverance.
I think the source of my fascination is more along the lines of how can a human being become this? What sort of person can live this way? We'll go back to that question. Maybe. I'm pretty sure I don't have a legit answer, but like all of my artistic projects, I create these videos mainly for myself. I have to. Nobody else ever sees them. But I'll admit to being weak to the sense that if I work hard enough and speak earnestly enough, then someday I'll make it. Even though the truth is that that is extremely unlikely. I'll admit to wanting tremendous fame and the power that comes with it, but I'm also starting to realize that maybe fame or power are not what they seem. Not in the traditional sense that there are downsides to fame, but in the sense that power is illusory. For example, a famous YouTuber can encourage their fans to donate to charity, but they cannot make their patrons wealthier or more economically fit. They cannot produce more money to be donated to charity. They can only harness a band of the increasingly fragmented stream of media audiences. Now I'll bring it back to Chiang Kai-shek. On paper, he came out of World War II as the first ruler of the entirety of what we today imagine as China in over half a century. And what a half century it was. But was he really that powerful? Within 5 years, the cracks in the facade of his regime and the disorder amongst the warlords that he counted as his allies had completely destroyed his authority. There are not other examples, at least to my knowledge, of people who win world wars and then in less than half a decade end up having to flee their homelands forever.
Alright, it is 6:43 a.m. and I am driving to my new apartment. But anyway, all of this got me thinking about the interview that reporter Jonathan Swan did with the former president Donald Trump. And there was this part where he was trying to convince Trump that he should be more vocally supportive of, like, you know, COVID prevention measures for the safety of his constituency, because the members of Trump's constituency love him and will do what he says, and so if he encourages them to make safe decisions, then they'll do so. But I think he was wrong, because, you know, like, Trump's entire family is now vaccinated, but millions of members of his constituency aren't, because the truth is that he does not actually lead them. He is just the manifestation of their beliefs, and if he betrays their beliefs or does not live up to that thing that he is supposed to be a manifestation of, then people will ignore him, you know, and not like as a binary thing, like they'll listen to him when he says what they want to hear, but then will ignore him when he doesn't say what they want to hear. And that's not like a unique thing about him. This is like Chiang, like this is the nature of authority, is that like people will do what you say when they agree with you, and when they don't, they will disregard you.
So Chiang had authority. He was the dictator of China and never delegated any responsibility to anybody else. but he had very little power. He couldn't get the warlords to do what he wanted, and he failed year after year to bring about the institutional change necessary to modernize China. So authority does not equal power. And while authority can be nested within a single individual, I think power can't. Okay, so what's the point of this video? Be content with your life, however turbulent and out of control it might feel. And if you want to change the world, don't envy the front page names and the unchallenged dictators, because they're not actually that much better positioned than the rest of us when it counts.